You know, right now the competition is as high as it's ever been to purchase land, be it residential or vacant land for hunting. And one of the biggest concerns I hear is how buyers are being outbid by the competitor. So today we're going to talk about a very rarely used clause that I can add into your purchase agreement. And that's called the Escalation Clause. And that's today's topic on the American Landman. So what is an escalation clause? Well, an escalation clause is simply a clause that we write into the offer to purchase that says, I'm offering you X for this property. And if buyer 2 comes in and offers you Y, I get a chance to address that offer and perhaps move my offer up. It's a safeguard that keeps you in the game during the negotiation process so you don't get bumped out of the deal. Now there's some strategy around these clauses, and there's some things you want to think about. Number one, what's the starting bid and where will you end up? What are you willing to go to on the high end of this offer? And how quickly do you want to get there? Now you might want to make a $1,000 escalation clause. So each time you're outbid, you're bumping up an additional $1,000. And maybe you want to have a clause in there on how many times you're willing to do this, and you definitely want to know what's your top end. So the way it would work, you'd place your offer. Buyer number 2 places his offer. Yours automatically jumps up $1,000. He might counter back with a higher offer. Yours automatically bumps up another $1,000, and so on until you either reach your maximum or the other buyer gives up and you purchase this property. So when you use this clause, make sure you write it in with the intentions of your own desires to how high you'll go, how many offers you'll make, what your step is each time, and make sure your agent fully understands your intent. So let's talk a little bit about the strategy of using these clauses. You know, some agents don't like escalation clauses. They may actually talk their seller out of it. The reason being is they're hoping that buyer number 1 will come with his best offer right out of the gate, or buyer number 2 will do the same. They don't want this back and forth because in a real estate deal, a lot of things can go astray with these back and forth offers. So if you bump into a situation where they don't want an escalation clause, you may have to come right out of the gate with your best offer. So what's the negative for you as a buyer if you use an escalation clause? Well, by writing in an escalation clause, you're kind of laying all your cards on the table. You're signaling to the selling agent that I'm willing to pay a little bit more. They may counter back, or they might bring in a phantom buyer just to compete against you. They know that you're willing to pay more because you simply wrote in this clause stating that I'm willing to jump up another $2,000 if I get an offer. Now this may not be a real buyer and it may not even be ethical, but you definitely are putting your cards on the table, showing them or signaling to them that you're willing to pay a little bit more. So if you're going to use an escalation clause, keep that strategy in mind. It could be used against you. And lastly, another concern to think about is how will the seller interpret this? Many times in my experience, sellers just want a straightforward offer. They don't want all these clauses and these contingencies. It just makes them nervous. They interpret it as just one more way that a buyer can get out of a deal. So keep in mind the psychology of the sale. If you have a lot of clauses, you have a lot of contingencies, a seller can negatively interpret that, and it might cause you to lose the deal. Escalation clauses can be a great way to maintain control of the deal. Make sure that you don't get knocked out by somebody else, but can have other side effects and other consequences as well. If you determine to use this technique, make sure you're fully aware of how to use it and the pros and cons. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Escalation clauses can definitely be a tool in your tool chest of buying and selling property. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you'll like, share, or comment. And if you'd like to talk about buying your own piece of American land, then give me a call. I'd like to be your guy in the land business. Hey, I'm Neil Hauger, and I'm a land specialist with Whitetail Properties Real Estate here in Western Wisconsin. Thanks for watching. You've been watching The American Landman.